behind the glitter of the world stage and the spotlight of the camera that never stops following the steps of the BTS members, there is a long story that is rarely really told in depth to the public. The story is not about trophies, not about streaming records, and not about the luxury that now surrounds the lives of those global idols. The story is the journey of a young man who once stood in a small training room with a dream that was much bigger than the space he stepped on. In a rare moment, Park Jimin finally opened a story about his best friend, Jungkook, a journey that he thought was even more dramatic than what the public had ever seen. According to Jimin, people often see Jungkook today as a superstar figure. Her face is known all over the world. Her songs are played in various countries, and her name becomes a symbol of the success of the modern idol generation. But behind all that, Jimin said there was a time that was never really understood by many people. The time when Jungkook was still a teenager full of doubts, who came to the practice room every day with half-tired but determined eyes. Jimin recalls their early days when they first became trainees under the auspices of HYBE, which at that time was still known as Big Hit Entertainment. At that time, no one was really sure what kind of future was waiting for them. The training building is not big, the facilities are not as luxurious as other big agencies, and there are even days when they feel that the entertainment industry world is too hard for their dreams. In the story that he told with a calm but emotional tone, Jimin said that Jungkook was the youngest among them. He was still very young when he left his house to pursue his dream. Many people think that becoming a golden magne is something easy, but according to Jimin, the truth is the opposite. He remembered a night that he thought he would never forget. At night, when almost all the trainees had gone home, the lights in the practice room started to turn off one by one, but Jungkook was still there. The music was played slowly, and he kept practicing, repeating the same movement many times as if time was meaningless. Jimin said that at that time he had asked Jungkook why he didn't just go home. Jungkook just chuckled and said something simple but stuck in Jimin's memory to this day. He said that if he stopped practicing early, he was afraid that the dream he was chasing would also stop faster. For Jimin, that sentence describes who Jungkook really is. A child who is never really satisfied with himself. A person who always feels like he has to work twice as hard as other people. Time passed. A long practice turned into a hopeful debut. When BTS finally embarked on their journey in the music industry, no one really predicted that a small group from that simple agency would one day change the world's music map. But even after debut, their struggle did not end immediately. Jimin said there was a time when they performed on a small stage with not too many spectators. There are also times when they read negative comments that try to doubt their abilities. In such situations, according to Jimin, Jungkook is often the most silent person. He didn't complain much, didn't talk much, but every day he returned to the practice room with the same spirit as the first day they were trainees. Year after year passed, and slowly the world began to pay attention to them. Their songs began to occupy the international charts. Their concert began to be filled with a sea of spectators. The name of Jungkook, who used to be only known as a young trainee, is now one of the most recognizable faces in the global music industry. But according to Jimin, the biggest change is not only happening in their career. The change can also be seen in Jungkook's personal life. From a teenager who used to live in a simple dorm with the members, now he is known to have a house that is often mentioned by the media as one of the most luxurious residences belonging to idols of this generation. Many people see the house as a symbol of success, a palace that proves how dreams can come true. But Jimin said that for Jungkook, the house is not just a symbol of luxury. According to him, the house is a symbol of a long journey, the symbol of all the sleepless nights, all the exhausting workouts, and all the doubts they have faced together. Jimin even said that Jungkook never really changed, even though his life is now very different from the past. He is still the same person who used to practice until late at night. He is still the same person who always wants to do everything perfectly. When Jimin told all this, many fans felt as if they had just seen another side of the figure who had been known as the world's superstar. Not only a talented singer or stunning performer, but a human whose life journey is filled with hard work and sacrifice. Jimin's story quickly spread in various fan communities around the world. Many say that the story makes them see Jungkook in a different way, not only as an idol, but as a symbol of a dream that is fought for endlessly. And maybe that's the most touching part of this story. That behind all the stage lights, behind all the cheers of the fans, Jungkook's journey actually started from something very simple, a small practice room, a dream that feels too big, and a young man who refuses to stop trying. Now, when the world sees the luxury and success that surrounds it, only a few people really know the long road they have to go to get to that point. But for Jimin, a friend who witnessed all the journey from the beginning, one thing is always clear, that the palace that Jungkook now owns is actually not made of stone and glass. The palace was built from sweat, tears, and dreams that he had never let go of since the first day he stood in that small practice room. The story revealed by Park Jimin about Jungkook's journey didn't stop there. When the story began to spread widely among BTS fans, many people began to realize that the journey that had always looked like an instant success story turned out to hold a much deeper layer of emotion. Jimin said that there was a time that was rarely known to the public, a time when the pressure of becoming an idol began to feel so heavy for Jungkook, who was still very young. In the midst of a tiring practice schedule, song recordings, and various increasing stage appearances, Jungkook is actually still a teenager who is trying to understand the world that suddenly changes so quickly. According to Jimin, when they first became known to the public, Jungkook often looked very strong in front of others. He always appears confident on stage, sings with full of energy, and dances without looking tired at all. But behind all that, there were moments when he was seen sitting quietly after the practice was over, staring at the studio floor as if he was thinking about something very deep. Jimin remembers one night when it rained quite heavily outside the training building. Almost everyone has gone home, but Jungkook is still in the room. The music had stopped, the lights only left a dim light, and the atmosphere felt very quiet. When Jimin approached him, Jungkook only smiled slightly, but his eyes looked tired. That time Jungkook had said something that made Jimin silent for a long time. He said that sometimes he felt afraid of failure, not because he doesn't believe in himself, but because he feels that many people hope for him. He doesn't want to disappoint the members who are already like his own family. That simple sentence made Jimin realize something, that behind the nickname Golden Magne that is often given to Jungkook, there is a big burden that he has to carry since he was very young. But precisely from that pressure, according to Jimin, Jungkook's character is increasingly formed. He is not the type of person who runs away from difficulties. On the contrary, every challenge actually makes him work harder. Time goes on and BTS's journey starts to change drastically. Their songs began to dominate various international charts. They performed on big stages that they never even imagined. The cheers of fans that used to be only heard from hundreds of people now turned into a sea of voices from tens of thousands of spectators.